what do you think was the cutoff point? Like, when was it okay for everybody to start using samples?
Nigga, everybody been using like, are you talking about like now? Because I mean, people been sampling since 80s, 90s.
I mean, okay, because you keep telling me it was a point where all the producers was looking at sampling, or not samples, loops. That's
Oh,
what I mean. Like loops as like pretty much like how rappers look at ghostwriting. You know what I'm saying? So like, when did it get cool for producers to start using loops?
I guess when they heard they was getting, I guess when they heard hits was being made out of them, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's just your perspective on it, you know. Because I mean, it's almost like sampling. I mean, but the loop is already made. At least, I mean, for a sample, you gotta go find some, but the sample is already pre-made. I guess it's just how you look at it. But I feel like the last 5 years or less, like loops really been going in. Unless I'm late to the party, but I mean, I really just started seeing loops really go crazy the last few years.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's a generation thing too, because it's like you could say about 10, 15 years ago, old heads was looking at the new up and coming producers and how they sample music, and they kind of criticized it like, nah, this ain't original. You pretty much just using sounds and melodies from an old song and turning it into your own, but in actuality, it is a new song. You putting your own spin on
I
it.
mean, if you think about it, the old head started sampling. I mean, back
Yeah,
then they can only sample 3 seconds at a time and loop that joint.
yeah. Nah, for real.
So like old heads, I mean, Unkin was the original samples. I mean, a lot of they were sampling songs in the 80s and 90s and
Yeah.
stuff.
You
So
think you think they'll say the same thing about Coltrane? As far as
I mean, they probably would. They probably would, but
yeah,
it is what it is, I guess.
I mean, because I know you looking at it more as like paying homage to Coltrane, but I
Yeah,
can
like
see
it's not like I was trying to, I'm trying to send this to an artist and make millions. It was just paying homage to the OG. I mean, he a pioneer, so I just wanted to
yeah.
see where I could take his music and get some inspiration off of it. That's all that was.
Okay, so you would say that was pretty much the inspiration behind.
Yeah, it wasn't like, well, I want to use Coltrane to get a placement. It was just I wanted to see if I could take something and make my own. But still, because jazz is. I didn't know jazz was like. I know jazz was deep, but like listening to it, like it really is deeper than what that I know. So,
Yeah. So you got 5 tracks, 5 instruments,
yeah.
and in all of them, I hear different types of instruments. I hear trumpets. I hear saxophone. Pianos. It's just a bunch of an assortment of instruments. Was there like specific ones that kind of like drew your ear? Like, did you hear like a piano riff and was like, okay, that's it right there. That's
Yeah, because on Super Jet, I mean, like the first thing you hear is a piano, but it'd be kind of hard. I mean, it was a piano, but most other jazz is either piano or trumpets and sax. But sometimes they mesh together. It'd be kind of hard to pinpoint. I feel like listening to jazz be like when I listen to jazz, it's like I can't separate now. It's like it sounds like this big sound. It's a big sound, but it's a big sound. But if you listen deeper, the sounds are doing its own thing. It's kind of crazy to explain that joint. But like I would hear certain things. Like I hear a piano, but the piano is not just by itself. Like the piano could be doing one thing in the front, but if you really listen to the sample, it's something else doing a whole different melody with it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's funny you brought up Superjet because that and Misty, that's probably like neck and neck. 2 of my favorite beats on there. I mean, just with any of them, but those specifically, like, what is your process when you first start making a beat? Like, what's the first thing you start with? Is it the sample? Do you make like a drum pattern and like go around that?
Majority, I want to say 90% of the time I do a sample. But if I want to switch it up, I'll do a drum pattern first and then try to make it fit. But most of the time, I do the sample and then I'll just build around it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's how I did for most of those.
Oh, for most of them, you just...
I think all of them, matter of fact, I think all of them I started with the sample first.
You've been also talking about this other thing. You know, I think you called it Plan A.
Plan A, yeah.
And I haven't heard anything from it. So I don't know, but just based on this EP, COLDTRAIN, is there anything from this EP that you taken into Plan A? Any lessons, you know, that you may want to correct with Plan A? Or is this like something totally different that we should expect?
A little bit of both. It's definitely going to be different. Now this project is going to be our original tracks. Like I done made these from scratch.
Okay.
But I'm going to take my approach how I did COLDTRAIN and this. So I definitely want to, after making COLDTRAIN, I do want to go back and make some new music based off what I learned from this and what I learned from making COLDTRAIN. It was just I released all the blockages I had and all the doubt, and I wanted to be free sounding how it was on there on COLDTRAIN to Plan A instead of, at first I think Plan A I wanted it to sound like industry standard or placement ready, but I don't want to be put in that box. Because when you looking for a placement, you're using certain sounds that everybody uses, and you know, making it a certain way to be artist ready. And I want to go back and be a little more free on this one as well, but still it be industry ready, but at the same time don't do the same old. You know, okay. Like experiment with new sounds. Like I experimented with a lot of new sounds on COLDTRAIN, as far as like drums and patterns and stuff. So I want to take that and implement it in Plan A as well.
Yeah, that's one thing I was real surprised at. It just seemed like a very different approach of how your beats usually sound. So I definitely don't know what they expect from Plan A, but I know it's
I already got some fire for Plan A, but now it's like, okay, I think I could throw I could squeeze in a new 3 or 4 just to mix in there.
Yeah.
But like the tape is basically done, but it's like now that I made COLDTRAIN as like a warm up, but I learned, but if anything, it helped me like making that. That was the most free I felt making these 5 tracks, which is crazy. I've been making music for a good minute, so like that. It's been a while since I felt like that, and I've only felt like that when I was working with this artist I used to work. I work with now, called named Positive High. So it made me feel like that again. So like, I haven't felt like that in a good minute. So I feel like if I can make music with that feeling, I feel like my music would be harder than what it usually is.